All right, UI features. So got a lot of opportunity, I think, for improvement here. Okay. And I made a short list of some things that I would personally like to see improved on the UI. So I'm just going to jump right into it, and then we'll pass it around and see what you guys think as well. See if you come up with anything outside of what I got here. So the first one would be, we need more than just a black and white theme. I think it's crazy that that's all we have.
Amen.
Now,
Amen.
right now, like, does this affect gameplay? No, none of this stuff does, right? But if Nintendo asks us, what would you change? I would say, hey, let's get some themes. We had themes on 3DS, right? Nintendo had their own themes that you could download. And then if you look across the water at, say, PlayStation, on the PS4, you used to be able to upload your own wallpaper. And that is like your actual theme. You could upload any sort of JPEG file you want, and that's your theme. So I think that is an easy way to kind of change things up. I think for the games, we need to have folders. That would be nice.
Yeah.
Uh, the eShop, please. We have to overhaul the eShop. It's very slow. And on top of that, one thing that's really missing, we got to add some music. We all loved the Wii eShop theme.
My gosh.
Can everyone
I
agree on that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I have videos like YouTube shorts about how much of a like banger not even just the eShop theme, but like just like even the menu theming, even the Wi-Fi, like just the Wi-Fi section within the settings has its own theme that goes crazy hard in the 3DS. Honestly, just bring the 3DS UI back and just cut the top screen. Like honestly, just make it cleaner and faster, and but because like everything about the 3DS UI was like kind of perfect. If we need to be real for a second,
And you have more to sell buying the Metroid theme, buying the Zelda music, buying this
exactly.
look. I mean, if you
It's
give people too
freeload.
much access, then there will be no incentive to buy, their own.
Yeah.
But if you make it like that, that's another incentivized, personalized thing. Why not?
I agree. I think it's easy money for Nintendo to put out their own themes. Obviously, like with PlayStation, they open it up to where you could put your own wallpaper there and create your own theme. I don't really see Nintendo doing that. I don't think they want to give us that much freedom to upload whatever we want, because people will upload whatever they want. Probably some inappropriate stuff, and it might reflect negatively on Nintendo if they do that.
What?
Yeah, look what happened with Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
you guys know
exactly
what I'm talking about.
Yes, but we know how guarded Nintendo is, obviously, with their IP and their reputation. But themes, I mean, we did it with 3DS. What did they charge? You guys remember? Was it
I feel like it was $1.99. I think is right. I mean, it would also make cool little pre-order bonuses as well.
That's right.
I think is not that you should just pre-order anything and everying, but do your research, make sure it's a game you want to play. But I think it's a cool pre-order incentive. Actually, when we're going to be talking about in the next segment trophies and stuff, but I have an idea with this sort of thing with trophies, but I'll mention that when we get there.
Okay, cool.
That I think is interesting.
With the themes too, I don't know if you guys remember, but they were animated, right? And there was sound effects too, like from the game. So like if you got a Metroid theme, there would be Metroid like music and different animations and whatnot. So again, that would be really cool. And as the world kind of moves more towards digital only, sadly, obviously I love physical, but we know what direction it's going in, right? And you mentioned pre-order. It's like, man, that would be a good pre-order incentive, wouldn't it? Because what other incentives do you really have? I mean, yeah, there's the digital soundtrack, digital art book, But outside of that, that would be really cool for people who don't really care so much about that. Throw in a theme for the game.
True.
I think that would make a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, it's cool. And dude, who doesn't love personalizing, their systems? I love themes like you guys mentioned on the 3DS. I loved it on the PS4. I remember I had my Dark Souls 3 theme on my PS4, and it would just play the Dark Souls theme song, and it would have one of the knights walking across the screen the whole time by bonfires and stuff.
Yeah.
It's
cool.
it just gave it flavor. It just gave you that extra flavor and made your console kind of stand out, among your friends.
Yep.
What I was gonna ask everybody, what theme did you have? Because I had, which is so funny that this was a theme on the 3DS because it was never. Oh my god, I turned the 3D on. It was wild looking. I meant to do the volume. I had the Skyward Sword theme. I don't know if anyone can see that. Do not.
Oh yeah,
please
that was a pretty.
Oh,
one.
yeah.
Pay attention to the totally legal apps I have on this 3DS. And pay attention to the top screen. But yeah, that was mine. Was Skyward Sword. Ooh, yeah, that tracks. That tracks for you, Paul.
That's
Yeah.
such a good tune. It loops so well.
Of course.
For sure.
I think
for
I had
sure.
I ended up buying several over the years.
Yeah. Did anybody else have themes that they remember having, or?
I had the Link Between Worlds theme.
Link Between Worlds. I think
I had
a good one. That's a great one.
I had both Link Between Worlds and Majora's Mask, and I'd swap between the two. Yeah.
Yeah, I did have that one too. That one was really cool.
Man, they need to bring back, like, I guess maybe this is part of another section, but like, I'm just so surprised that we lost so many of the like little cool touches that the 3DS had when going to Switch. Like I kind of get it because it's like cost cutting measures, I suppose, but also like Street Pass and like I mean even just I don't know. There's just like so many things about the 3DS that just made it so you were encouraged to use it in because I feel like there's not really incentive to take your Switch on the go per se, other than the fact that it's like, oh, it is portable. It's not as like, oh, you aren't encouraged to sit there and play your Switch with another person or like, oh, it's, Street Pass with each other. You know what I'm saying?
Street
like,
Pass would have been sick on the Switch. It would have, especially with what a hot seller. Obviously it's currently on its way to possibly being the best selling console of all time. Just the thoughts of having Street Pass on it and all the experiences players would be having with that is really, really cool. I think it's a bummer we missed it. Hopefully that's something that comes to Switch 2.
Street Pass and the pedometer directly
the pedometer,
one of my dormant games that I'll be talking about later on.
That was cool. Yeah.
You mentioned
I had that on my list too. I was just going to say the Street Pass, by the way. I'm glad you brought it up. I had it on my list because I think that's really cool technology. Yeah. And, it really helps to, I think, build a community, right? And you actually you meet people just by bringing your Switch everywhere you go. And I think that's a really good thing. So that's something I would love to see. I don't know if they're going to bring it back, but why not?
Yeah, I mean, or even if it doesn't even have to be called Street Pass, just a version of it, It's just I don't know, because I think it's cool. Yeah, I think it's cool to just have that. It encourages, because I mean that's like Nintendo's bread and butter is like the couch gaming type vibe, and I feel like that really encourages that, even though you may be at a convention or an airport or whatever else. But anyways, yeah, sorry, don't just.
I mean, yeah, no, you're right though. Think about the 140 million Switch owners, and you're right. Going to conventions, I mean, think about all the people that would have their Switch on them, and then you got all these friends now that you can play the game with. That would be cool.
That would be sick. Yeah, you also mentioned music in the eShop. I think that's a fantastic idea. I mean, I think every Nintendo fan who's been around misses that. The Wii eShop theme is obviously super iconic and probably one of the most popular Nintendo songs. But I even think the Wii U music was fantastic too. And if I remember correctly, you guys maybe correct me if I'm wrong on this. I feel like they updated the eShop music in the Wii U eShop during holiday or seasonal times to have kind of like Halloween time. It was kind of a spooky flair. Christmas time, it kind of had more of a Christmassy vibe to it. I feel like I remember that, or maybe it was for special sales events that they did that. But I feel like I remember the theme would alter during seasons.
You
kind
are
of like
it.
kind of like
I have it right here.
Banjo Kazooie. It's the same Gruntilda's Lair theme song, but it changes the instruments and how it plays depending on which world you're near when you're in the kind of castle hub.
Or you hop on Yoshi and it's got that.
Does the screen share have audio? Yeah, so we have some. So this is, I think this is I don't see any other holiday, but this was the Christmas or holiday themes, I think.
Yeah,
so here's
I'm almost positive they did it for Halloween as
yeah.
too.
These are Halloween one. So,
and this system's going to have more than 4 gigs of RAM, and probably the CPU will have more than just 1. Even if it has 2, that's going to be double, which this kind of stuff won't bog down the memory. It won't make it slower. We'll be able to have a little bit of a snappier eShop, faster transitions, music that then doesn't take 5 seconds, 10 seconds to load in between. Got to shut the music down to start the game. I think they want it snappy. Maybe they'll do something like they did with Nintendo Switch, where you could like pause the game, go into a different menu, go back, and how Xbox sort of evolved it with. You could have 8 games doing that at the same time. Nintendo will want a smooth, cohesive experience, but maybe those, custom themes and stuff will be enough to differentiate it as like, this is what the system's capable of. This is how much more different it is. What you love, what we've established, not a silly console from the get-go. It was a gamer's machine from the beginning that had cool things. And now it's like, now that we got you back in by the droves, we could have a little bit of that Nintendo fun magic that you sort of know. Whereas sometimes their experimentalism doesn't bode well with everyone, but they have to still do it. It's in their nature. That's how they expand the industry. So a little bit of tried and true, a little bit of, what makes them unique. I'm excited. I'm so stoked.
Yeah, I just the quirkiness gives Nintendo so much personality and really makes them stand out. But I want to take it a step further. Right? Like, I think eShop music is great, but I'd also love to have either some music or some sort of ambiance in just like your regular home screen when you're like navigating. It doesn't have to be a full-blown jingle. Maybe it could be cool ambiance based off your theme. If you have a Zelda theme, maybe there's a little bit of particle effects. If it was a Tears of the Kingdom on the Switch too, and there was a theme for it, maybe get some of those golden leaves that you see on like the concept art, kind of a transparent golden particle effect falling down. And maybe it just has like this mystical kind of ambient sound behind it, but it's not like a full song. I just want to see that character come back. Everyone loves it, and I obviously I love how snappy and quick the UI is on the Switch. I mean, the time it takes to go from a turned off console to back into the game that you were last playing is faster than anything on the market. So wild. They nailed that. But I think they can bring back a little bit of that charm. They don't have to go crazy. Bring a little bit of the magic back and then really wow us with the software. But I think little things like music and themes could really go a long way to, give that quirkiness, that personality that Nintendo's so loved for and known for.
They're going to convey that messaging with 2 snaps. They're going to, each person's going to do 2 snaps.
That would be good. I agree with you guys big time. And I was thinking about it too. I think people would spend more money. I literally do. And I'm sure you guys would probably see what I'm saying. But if the eShop runs smoothly and it's easy to use versus how it is now, where I'm like, I'm going to find what I want. Like, I already know what I want. I don't go in there and browse. You know what I'm saying? Like, I look up the game I'm getting and I download it and then I'm out of there because it's just so clunky. But if it's a smooth experience and you got some nice music like we had with the Wii, you're going to spend more time in the eShop, which is going to result in you spending more money because you're going to browse the whole store. Think about it in real life. Like, if you walk into a store and it's just not a good experience and they got like horrible music playing. Yeah. And you're like, dude, you know what? I'm just going to scan this really quick and see if there's anything cool because I want to be in and out of here in like 1 minute. That's what I did.
Yeah.
So
Me when I'm in a Hollister's, sorry.
Yeah, no, same here. Like there's certain places where maybe the girlfriend drags me to and I'm going with her just to be there with her, but I really don't want to be in here. It's like that. So I think they can make it a way better experience, and in turn, people will probably spend more money. So
yeah, and do some cool event music stuff, kind of like the Wii U eShop where they did the seasonal, but maybe like anniversaries. Think the Zelda anniversary.
Yes.
Maybe there's some discounted older Zelda games. It's blasting the classic Zelda theme song and the eShop stuff like that.
I love the season
rad.
aspect. I think the season makes a lot of sense. So that would be very cool. Okay. Let me jump into the next one here. I was looking at the Switch today. I was looking at the news. It's like we could do something, I think, with the news.
Where there's a news section on the Switch.
Exactly.
I was on the news section once.
Oh yeah, featured news. There it is.
Yeah,
I opened it up.
It's
you
literally
guys,
like a button at the bottom.
They need to integrate the news with the eShop, just like PlayStation does and Xbox. Your news and your store is the same storefront. That's where your news is. Like that's where you learn about new games that just came out. It makes sense to have them together. Now, I'm guessing Switch wasn't able to do it due to some sort of restriction. Nate, you mentioned before, I think you said that the eShop is like a web-based store. Is that right? Yeah. So there's limitations there. I get it. We all get it.
Switch. Yeah.
But it would make sense, I think, for them to combine the news, because that's also your advertisements, with what you could be potentially be buying. So another opportunity there.
I would say, why don't we bring back the news like we had it on the Wii, where it's just like the
actual news.
Oh, the actual news and the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna say what recent political events, but imagine that on your Switch. I saw someone tweet out like they brought it up on their like Wii News like from forever ago. They like have one of those. Oh god, it's so funny. Anyway, sorry, I thought that would be a good bit.
That actually would be pretty funny. So what about video apps, guys? Like the Netflix, the Hulu, the YouTube.
It's about time they kind of come to it.
I
launch it with Netflix on it, and at the same time launch it alongside a brand new 12-episode high-quality animated Star Fox series and a Star Fox game. Gosh dang!
You're thinking too well, Paul.
Wait,
I want it so bad.
Paul, I love it. I love it, but I'm gonna put my vote not for the animated Star Fox, although I think Star Fox would work phenomenal as like an anime series. I want them to get Jim Henson Studios in on it. Bring the puppets from the ads.
Dinosaur Office comes back.
That'd be cool.
I want them in the cockpits, puppeteering.
They were so cool. They looked so good. If you have this blend where the Star Fox characters and Star Wolf and General Pepper and everybody is all puppeteer, but the
puppeteering
ships are a combination of props and then CGI for all the lasers and stuff going on. That would be pretty dope.
That'd be so sick.
Oh man. So that's how you watch Netflix on Switch. Yeah.
I see some people in chat saying Switch does have a YouTube app. Excuse me.
Yes, no.
But it could have a better one.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's wild that like the Wii's Netflix app is still the most proficient app, like streaming service app that they've put on any of their consoles. I think Hulu was on Wii U, if I remember correctly. And I think it's just overdue. I mean, it must be like a licensing, like they must have to pay. Like, you know what I mean? Like I would say at this point, those streaming services are so big that I bet that Nintendo would have to pay Netflix to put their app on their stuff, which is probably why it's not on Switch versus the other way around. Because I think they do that with Roku and other devices, and it just depends on like
they do
whatever's So
I think that's what it is too. And I do though. I still think Netflix would be wise to try and get Netflix on the Switch. I mean, you got 140 million people you could tap into right now. It's like, really? And obviously, some of the stuff would look really good on the OLED Switch if you think about it.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
I would actually argue because it in terms of market share, you probably if you strike a deal with Disney because that gives you Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN. You get the bundle. You know what I'm saying? At least I don't know. That's if I was Nintendo, that would probably be you get the most bang for your buck, air quotes, because they're all looped together. And that would account for about. I need to see the actual. Hang on, let me look at the actual market share. But continue. Sorry, I cut you off there.
I was just saying, I think it would be cool, and of course, one of the things we've heard, and of course, these are just rumors about the Switch 2, though, is that it's going to have a significantly improved battery life. And so, when you talk about doing things like, streaming, live TV, live sports on there, Netflix. It's like, you know what? It actually could work out pretty well if it's going to have, a much improved battery life. I think with the OG Switch, who knows how much time you can squeeze out of it and get in some game time on one charge. But the Switch 2, if it's improved, say maybe it's 5-6 hours, I think it would make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
you got me. I'm sold.
Okay, next one. Get rid of friend codes. Let's move to usernames.
Oh my god!
Can we do that?
Or just do the
I
Discord.
want longer digit friend codes, actually. I want it to be 32 characters long. I'm the opposite.
You need to
the show right now.
And I want it to be like the old cell phone style where you have to go 111 to do C 2222.
T9.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
T9 texting. Yeah.
You have to put area codes in. Oh my god.
With upper cases and lower cases too.
That'd be great.
Just do what Discord does. Like, or you could even do I mean, they probably don't want to, again, that goes back to the licensing, whatever else thing, but you could probably do Discord integration. Like, I feel like the opportunity there is endless.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like one of the features I'd love the most is to see something like Discord just integrated into the console, have them like a special curated version of it for the Switch. No more of the Nintendo app. It's a pain. No more of the crappy friend codes and matching shapes and all the other ways that they had to do it. And I get that they're trying to keep it within their own ecosystem. And I think that's what a lot of this boils down to is like, again, it's their branding, it's the ecosystem of the Switch. But it's like, I just wish that, well, one, it just makes more sense to do username and hashtag, right? That would probably just be easiest, like, let it go, That's like what 90% of games do nowadays. So then everybody can still have you can still have your gamer tag, but it's still unique to you, etc. But the Discord integration thing would be so interesting because, I mean, you see it on every other console in the industry at this point. And then you start to get it into PC integration at that point. But I mean, it would be difficult for sure, but I think it's overdue because just purely from the fact that it's like everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that they need to do it, but it would definitely be something that's like, okay, Nintendo, you're not gonna create a forced market share because you're limiting your audience, because it's really a limiting factor, not hey, it's because it's better. I don't know. Anyways, that's just my little blurb on it.
Well, PlayStation added Discord voice chat in March, so they have it now. And you mentioned that kind of everyone else is doing it, and that's where I'm like, well, then I feel like Nintendo's probably not going to do it then, because if everyone's doing it, they don't do it.
Right.
But it would be nice to have.
Unless they decided to partner with another company and create their own unique thing that's integrated into the Switch instead of through an app. Yeah. Which would be the next best scenario. But the app's got to go. We're all excited to see what Switch 2 is. We're all excited to see the new bells and whistles and what makes it unique, why it stands out from the first Switch. to have to package Switch 2 with an apology, which is basically your Nintendo Switch Online app, carries over. You'll be able to talk with your friends through the app just like you did before, is going to be an ouch moment. So I hope it's not the case. And it seems like I don't know. I feel like there's been little breadcrumbs here and there that have made me feel that they're thinking about online play a little bit more seriously than they did when they were designing Switch 2. Coming off of the heels of a commercial failure with the Wii U, I feel like now maybe it's a time for them to re-examine that and take a better stab at it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right. One other thing I had on here, and guys, some of these things we're talking about, I think are bigger deals than others, right? This one is just a nice thing to have. I miss the intros, man. The GameCube intro. Think about like the PlayStation 1 intro and that music. It was so classic. And if you hear it today, you're just like, oh man, that brings me back. Like, it would be really nice to have something unique for this. Like, the GameCube intro was so cool. The animation, the sound effect, it was really cool. Now, do we need it? No, but would it be cool? Yes.
Yeah. I think that sort of stuff is great marketing too. I mean, the Switch sound, the snap sound, or the click of the boards has become iconic. I'd love to see that evolve into something more with Switch 2. Everyone knows the GameCube sound. Everyone knows the PlayStation 1 sound, another really iconic startup. Yeah, the classic Sega.
Yeah, I saw
from the
Eric
old days.
in chat mention that. Yeah, Sega's just so classic.
It's just like iconic. I mean, they could do anything. They could just build on that for all I care. The Switch sound. They could have that clack followed by someone moaning "ow," like something horrible, and that would be cool to me.
Wait. Say that one more time.
They could do the classic Switch followed by "ow," and I'd still be like, "Oh, that's pretty rad."
Hell yeah,
I like that.
That might be it. Probably it.
Yeah, I'm just saying, keep it creative. Bring that charm back. Keep it creamy.
It's fun. Keep it creamy.
Yeah.
That's a pre-podcast joke.
So
yeah,
that's what I always say.
That's what I always say.
Again, the stutter is what gets me.
What is happening?
Chat, for those who don't know, we had a little pre-podcast bit, and Gameberg really doubled down on it. It's about keeping it creamy.
I'm a cream guy. What can I say?
Oh, yep. Moving on. I can't.
It's like, all right, let's get over this. We're done with this.
I
We're done
don't
here.
even know what to say right now. This is just
Could be worse.
This is wild.
Yeah, and that's
guys,
games.
To get back on track. Outside of all those UI features that we just mentioned, do you have any other ones that you guys want to throw out there before we move on to our next topic?
This works if the system's dock is a little bit different. So imagine the front of the Nintendo Switch dock not being plastic, but just being enough for safety so that it doesn't fall out. And if anything, tilted back a little bit, right? So the Nintendo Switch dock, but tilted back slightly, and so that you can see the screen. What if the screen in like a standby mode was a clock, was a little Mario animated thing jumping around? So on your desk, on your entertainment center, the dock could be a second screen. That could be your updates. That could be your news. That could be your notification. That could be your friend request. You have a new friend request, something that would glow up. You don't have to have it. It could be off, but there's so much more that you could do if the dock's front face is not completely covering it. And I would love it. And, some things could be by default, like maybe the clock is by default on there. But maybe a secondary feature is like, yeah, you could play it as a the tabletop mode. Maybe that's an alternate way that you could play. now by not taking the Nintendo Switch even out of the dock to play it in tabletop mode, it literally is just servicing as its own, TV source right then and there. But most of the implications I'm thinking is this little wake up buddy, is this alarm that says, hey, wake up, Ring Fit Adventure time. Because a notification, because Ring Fit Adventure had that. So that would be really cool. And maybe you're watching YouTube on that or something. Everyone's entertainment center is different, but if you're 12 feet away or 16 feet away, you're probably not going to choose the Nintendo Switch 8-inch screen on your new NS2 dock to watch it on. But enough little things. I mean, it'd be pretty sweet. That whole thing, when as soon as you just have that front of the face of the dock removed and tilted back, and a whole new world of creativity is in there, and like the marketing would be different. Yes. Part of this thing is like, is it distinguishably different? And that would be, dude. There's the old thing does not do this. That's cool.
Yeah.
What is the feature? I think it's cool the always on screen, especially if they probably won't, but if they keep the OLED screen from the OLED version of the Switch, which is kind of how iPhones operate. I guess it's like more like their Retina display. But anyways, regardless, if they did something where it's the always on display, where it's like on, but it's not super evasive, like Paul was saying, it could, like you said, like the alarm clock. That's a really cool feature, and I bet you could even start doing things like integrating it with Pokemon Sleep or like their other apps that they do that are like other health benefits app. That because Nintendo's always kind of had that little, ever since the Wii, that little health nut. For whatever reason, they love that kind of like technology and like to fiddle around with it and get it integrated into their games, right? I don't know. It could be an idea.
If it has a frontal facing camera that is acknowledging which user, and like if a parental control wants to say, don't let these faces access mature rated games, there you go. Unless if you are sitting here with my 9-year-old son or my 7-year-old daughter, this M-rated game is not going to exist. Like which doesn't anyways with them, but you know what I mean? Like that's
it's like the face recognition on these.
Awesome facial recognition. Like it's and if anyone says, well, that sounds too expensive, maybe, but it's kind of like cars. At one point, automatic car window rolling down feature was a high luxury, and now it's freaking everywhere. At one time, backup cameras were, oh man, you got backup camera? Now most cars have that equipped. So facial recognition software and a little cheap camera. I mean, I'm not saying it costs nothing. And would it be worth it to them? Yeah, but it's probably not too much of a cost to include that it's not too high end of a feature that's not unimaginable anymore on a Nintendo.
I don't think that would be too expensive, to be honest with you. The facial recognition is software, and then the camera. I mean, we've been putting cameras and stuff forever, but maybe what do I know? I'm not a tech guy, so I might be way off.
You just hit up Tim Cook, easy. Wow,
there you go.
How you do this?
I think that makes a lot of sense, especially if they bring back themes. Like if they brought back themes and you could buy like an animated theme to play on your Switch when you're not using it, or an animated clock. Like I think about right behind me, you guys see it next to Reggie. It's my Game and Watch.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zelda. That functions, as a clock too. So does the Mario. It's like that would make sense. I mean, people would buy those if they were displaying at all times when you're not using your Switch. And then you'd probably put your Switch in a more prominent, display area for like people come over, you can see the Switch and you can see whatever theme's on. Exactly.
I love the designs of how different NES, Super NES, N64, GameCube, and Wii were. And that was kind of the end of it. Everything since then has sort of just been different rectangle boxes, kind of with the exception of PlayStation 5. That did change it up a lot. But I wouldn't mind this screen being like, I could choose to have a GameCube background just as a GameCube there. It's kind of weird. Cool. Like, why would you have a GameCube on your background screen as Nintendo Switch? But like a lot of Nintendo fans are Nintendo fans for long enough that we had nostalgia for past consoles. So yeah, maybe I want it to be a 3D looking NES or a SNES that's on your screen on that, through that dock, that when you're walking by, you see it. So it looks like it's a part of your entertainment center. or just any images, like you said, or little ambient music if you want. I mean,
PlayStation
so
did that
much.
too. They sold a PS1 anniversary theme for your PS4, and it was really cool. Like everything is PS1. It's really cool.
A small logo bouncing around, like my wife and I got my parents for Christmas. It's what is it? Okay, I can't think of the basic word now. A picture frame, but it's one of those digital picture frames,
Yeah.
Oh, like the Aura
it constantly
frames.
changes. It's got a whole bunch of gigs and stuff, but it's so easy these days that I could now, email it, or I text it basically. So I could be at my house, I could text the pictures there, and it just pops into their thing via Wi-Fi.
That's cool.
And it's really cool because the old one, you have to get like an SD card, take it from the computer. There was always this hurdle in between, and now I can just text the device, and my parents are getting constant new updates. And like, that's just live and fun and new. And it's got hundreds of photos that are on different timers. You can make it last, 10 seconds per photo, less or more, whatever. And Nintendo Switch just having something neat like that in the entertainment center, that's a talking point in a sea of plastic boxes that are black and gray and white of different rectangular shapes. Here's this one that is this live screen, and no console would have that. You think like swappable faceplates are cool? Man, this thing is a living, breathing faceplate. That's the best really cool idea that I have for Nintendo. Possibly that do they know about my idea? Maybe.
No, I think that idea is really cool. I can think of so many different unique spins on it and things that they can do with it. Heck, they could. I was going to mention, Steve, that I'd also love to see Miiverse basically make its way back, and maybe super popular Miiverse posts, display, when you could have it display Miiverse stuff, or little animations. Maybe maybe that face reflects your theme.
It makes me disappointed because I are skeptical about maybe a version of Miiverse could come back with these new whatever they did in Switch Sports characters, but it is unfortunate. It seems like they have definitely taken a lot of steps to kind of walk away from Mii's being a part of the Nintendo brand. Like they're still there and they still are part of things, and I think it's more of like a legacy inclusion than it is like we want to keep actively making these a part of like this is a Nintendo thing, but I think moving forward I would be very surprised, pleasantly surprised, but I would be very surprised if Mii's came back as we know them, as we knew them on the Wii and Wii U per se. Maybe we'll see something again with those newer avatars, but in terms of avatars, like in that kind of, I think that era is also just kind of over. Like I remember when Mii's were a thing, Xbox and PlayStation had to emulate it, and get their own avatars and everything else. But I think that era of like gaming is over, to be real with you, which, have we gone into the trophies topic or no? I can save it for that.
No, we're actually going to jump in.
My next, I was going to say, because that leads me into the trophies.
We're ready.
Thing.
If everyone, if you guys are cool, we're ready to jump into the next.
One thing I want to bring up quick.
We
had a super chat come in that was related to this topic. This comes from Jorge FT. He says, how can Nintendo have all the UI features you all hope for while maintaining the UI's fast speed and RAM use within a gigabyte like the Switch's UI?
I think 2 for the CPU and 10 for the GPU is enough of a split. Doubling that Nintendo Switch RAM, that might be enough to do it. It could be wrong. I don't know all the ins and outs, but a 2-10 split seems all right, assuming the system's 12.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. The fact is, we don't know. There's speculation. There's potential leaks and rumors about the Switch 2, but we really don't know anything until Nintendo comes out and says it. It could be more powerful than we all think it is. It could be less powerful than we all think it is. But I don't know. I would really love to see some, if not all, these features make a return. And I think it's likely that some do. Maybe not all of them, but I think it's likely some do.
agree. I think it's likely that a decent amount of them make a return. And I would agree that if it is 12 gigs, a 10-2 split would make sense.
Yeah, like if it's 12 a 10-2 split, I mean, obviously does make sense. I do wonder if, like I've talked about before, like one thing I really love about the Switch's UI is that it's just super clean. Like themes and music and all that stuff like sounds good on paper and adds identity. But then when I boot up my PlayStation, there ain't any of that shit most of the time. Same with the Xbox, same with your phone. There's like no other device that does it. And Nintendo created this whole new audience of people that don't have that stuff. Like I think a lot of people clamoring for it are older heads. My kids don't give two shits. There's no themes, no music. So like when I think about the UI and stuff, a lot of it is just like I just want to see technical improvements, like letting us organize things any way we want, putting folders on the home screen, just making navigation easier, and honestly, more snappy in general all around. Snappier in the screenshot app. Make the NSO be one giant application instead of 17 different ones. And have that actually be like really smooth. You can get into the eShop and how that should just be a native application that the eShop needs dude. I could talk about the eShop for like an hour on anything that you can do to make that better. Even though it basically just boils down to, hey, Nintendo, have you ever used Netflix? Just do that.
I don't know, even Netflix's UI, respectfully,
But it's not. But here's the thing: that's how bad.
Better than the eShop. It's better than the eShop.
Nintendo's horrible. How about just have game recommendations in general, based on what you've played? Would be cool. We don't have that at all.
Oh wow, a 4U
I mean
page.
that could be a whole
For you,
podcast. There's a lot of room for improvement.
That would be a wild thing. A 4U page on the Nintendo eShop, or just, I mean, there's kind of that on Steam. There's a because you played this, here's this. It gives you like a scroll wheel, like 10 different games.
Bring back user ratings.
Yeah.
Yeah, had it on Wii U.
Cool. On Wii U, it was the stars, right? It was a star system, or am I wrong? Yeah, they got to do stars. No thumbs up, thumbs down, because that's not helpful at all.
No, it's
the
not.
stars.
The stars.
Yeah, a range gives more nuance for sure.
I mean, look, let's just be honest. Nintendo fans are biased, and every single Nintendo game was 4.5 stars and up. But hey, the thing is, we're not trying to sort through the Nintendo games. People are trying to sort through the indie games and all the third-party stuff.
Yeah.
We don't know. Yeah,
they're not worried about. We know what the Nintendo games are. Nintendo shoves it in our face. It's the other stuff that we need the ratings for. You know.
Yeah.
Anyways, I just wanted to make sure we got to that super chat while it was relevant.
No, that's valid. Yeah.